Can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat Sleep Boxing Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel in partnership with sharpbetting.co.uk. I'm Niall and I'm delighted to be joined today by Greg, and we're here to preview a really fascinating heavyweight clash on February 22nd in Saudi Arabia, as two heavyweights on a riding the crest of a wave at the minute, Agit Kabayel and Zhilei Zhang, meet to put themselves, the winner will put themselves in pole position, you'd imagine, for a world title shot in that one. So, yeah, can't wait for that one. Greg, first of all, I hope you're well. Let's jump into it. We're going to preview the fight, obviously, but I'm going to start with a fairly big question here. As I said, both men are riding the crest of a wave. Kabayel beat Makhmudov and Sanchez. Zhang beat, of course, the Joyce wins. I know he lost to Parker, but it was a close fight, and then he knocked out Wilder. The winner of this puts themselves kind of on the doorstep of a world title fight, in my opinion, and I think in the opinion of a lot of people. Who do you think has the best chance of dethroning the undisputed heavyweight or the unified heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk if they were to fight for a world title?
What a question to start with, Niall. That's a really, really good one because Usyk seems like the unbeatable man at heavyweight just now, doesn't he? If I was going to rank who I think has the best chance, I think that there's proof in the pudding. A style like Kabayel causes Usyk more trouble. If we look at, I can't believe I'm about to say this now, but see if we look at potentially Usyk's hardest fight at heavyweight, might be Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora and Agit Kabayel are not that different. Pressure fighters like to target the body, throw punches and bunches at times. Obviously, Chisora's slowed down that a little bit as he gets older. Um, yeah, Fury gave him a good fight. AJ gave him a good fight, but he seems to be comfortable with bigger, slower guys. So I would say Kabayel probably has the best chance for me now.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. As you say, stylistically, we've seen that type of fighter give Usyk trouble before. Zhang is supremely talented himself, but as you say, not quick, understandable with his size. His weak point maybe his footwork, and Kabayel has quick feet and quick hands to go with it. So I think he could cause Usyk problems, as you say. Usyk is pretty much like the unbeatable man. So I know it's asking a lot to dethrone him, but I think Kabayel out of the two would have the best chance. Yeah, so onto the fight itself. Zhang against Kabayel, as I mentioned at the start of the video, these are two of maybe the three form heavyweights in the world. You've got these two, you've got Daniel Dubois riding the crest of a wave himself, you've got Martin Bakole coming off that big win against Jared Anderson. Just give us your thoughts on this fight. How excited are you for it, and how do you see it going ultimately?
I think it's a fantastic fight now. Do you know something? See on this card, let's give Turkey Al Sheikh and the promoters credit before I get into this here. That's the best card I've ever seen. It really, really is. If you're a pure boxing man, you look at all of these fights and you're like, wow. Thoughts on the fight? I think it's a very, very good fight because I think Zhilei Zhang, although he's lost to Parker, I think he's one of the most nightmare heavyweights that you can fight because it's going to sound wild now, but there's something about him that reminds me of what's his name again? The big Russian that David Hay fought. He
Valuev.
dethroned Valuev, Nikolai
Yeah.
Valuev. Yes, that's who he reminds you of. He's like one of these guys. I think you could hit him in the head all day, and because of the sheer size of him, you're not going to hurt him. So you need to target the body, but you need to be careful because Zhang punches ferociously, a lot more ferociously than Makhmudov. So it fascinates me for that reason. And the resurgence in Kabayel's career, like I said to you briefly off camera, that's not the same Magic Kabayel that fought Derek Chisora. I had to check that it was the same guy. He's a different animal now. So for a number of reasons, I think this fight is so fascinating. A Zhang knockout doesn't surprise me, and a Kabayel breaking him down doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah, again, I think you're pretty spot on. Zhang, he's a phenomenal specimen, isn't he? Really, for somebody
Yeah.
that size, southpaw, clever boxer, of course, with the amateur background, fast hands, big power. I just wish, kind of, I was thinking this before we started recording. He's 41 now. I wonder if Zhang had a kind of hit his prime a few years earlier, what sort of a problem he'd be for the heavyweight division. I really do. Just the size plus the attributes that he has is really quite fascinating. And as you say, with the value of comparisons, you're probably right there with the size anyway. But he's a better version of Valuev. You know, he's a better boxer.
Niall, nobody wanted him. That's
Yeah,
why we didn't see Zhang's prime. Nobody wanted him.
exactly.
He was there. He would have fought anyone, but it was one of these fights, right? Okay, if it's not a mega fight in China, if it's not on a huge American card with a massive name to back it, you're probably not get the financial rewards of it. So his prime was probably avoided. I think you make a great point there.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, a lot of people said it about Joe Joyce, which I'd have to agree with. It was quite crazy of Joe Joyce to take that fight
Yeah,
on in the first place when he himself was on the verge of a world title shot. So, yeah, he's avoided for good reason, to be honest with you. But yeah, Kabayel, as you say, as well, you know, riding that crest of the wave, you know, it's not the same fighter that beat Chisora. He looks much better now. And we were saying again off camera, if he hadn't have kind of gone off the radar slightly over those few years after the Chisora fight, who knows what he could have achieved. But I'm a big fan of Kabayel. I think he's quick,
yeah.
good footwork, you know, good body puncher, good variety in the shots. And I think as you say yourself, it's going to be hard to knock Zhilei Zhang out, in my opinion. I think body work is key here and exposing the kind of slower feet of Zhilei Zhang, in my opinion, I think is going to be the key. So I could see Kabayel outboxing Zhang to a points win, but as you say, it's one of those fights that nothing would really surprise me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
What
Now you just made the best point in the video. See, before we get to it, you go back and you look at Makhmedov against Kabayel. What really started to trouble Makhmedov is when Kabayel targeted the body. You could see him
yeah.
pulling his hands in, hated it. For me, I think that's what you've got to do with Zhang. So again, that's a tremendous point you make there.
And especially with Zhang as well, who's had questionable gas tanks, you know, in the past.
Yeah.
You know, he faded against Hergovich, he faded badly against Jerry Forrest. So, you know, that is still a big question to answer. So, yeah, I think if Zhang probably has to kind of knock Kabayel out, in my opinion, if he is to win. But I think Kabayel will outpoint him for a close point win. What's your official prediction for this one?
You know, Niall, I'm not going to disagree with you too much. There's one thing that's worrying me. See, when a big man about 6'8" can punch like a mofo, like Zhilei Zhang, I don't really think it matters who you fight. You could get knocked out any minute if you're not careful. You don't get the game plan right. The biggest talking point for me in this fight is how does Kabayel adapt to Zhang's power? If he can adapt to that power, well, I see Kabayel winning. But Niall, I'm with you. I just think that Kabayel targets the body. If he stays neat and tidy and avoids the power of Zhang, I think that he's going to do really well in the fight. Another thing that slightly concerns me, it's easy for us to look back now, Niall, and say, you know, when he beat Makhmedov was slow and things. He punched very, very hard. Zhang's just a little bit more ferocious than Makhmedov the way he throws. He throws slightly quicker in their way, like, you know, more technical intentions rather than just hard punches. So it's a big talking point for me now, but I really rate Agit Kabayel and I edge towards him in this fight.
So we're on the same page there, but as we
Yeah.
say, it's going to be a very close one, I think. And just before we wrap up, I do agree with what you said earlier. It is the best card of all time. I don't think that
Oh,
can be
absolutely.
disputed top to bottom. They're all main events in their own right. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can't wait for this one. I'd say you can't wait either. That's all we have time for on this one. Just myself and Greg giving a preview to the fascinating, massive heavyweight clash between Agit Kabayel and Zhilei Zhang, February 22nd. Of course, part of that mega card, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, headlined by Dmitry Bivol and Artur Beterbiev in the rematch. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree with our preview? You know, who are you picking? How looking forward to the fight? How looking forward to the fight are you? Yeah, and as always, please don't forget, we'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like on this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel at ESBR Boxing, and follow us on all social media channels. Greg, it was an absolute pleasure. Until next time, take care.
Thanks again now.